right, if you have got a case loading shovel, you could be in the shit. I'm going to tell you why, and we're going to go into the video now, so have a watch. But if you've got a case loading shovel like I have, we might be in a bit of bother, especially if you're in, Midlands, anywhere around Manchester, Yorkshire, Lincoln, anywhere like that, and you're going to need some parts and a bit of service. We're going to be in trouble for a few weeks. So watch the rest of the video and you'll see why. Good afternoon, or whenever you watch it, maybe morning. And today I'm talking to you about Warwick Ward machinery going bust. Brand new news. I'm going to put this video out today so, all the subscribers on this channel can see it. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel and also buy a mini skip truck off us, off the company that I work for. Get a mini skip truck built because they're real good and they save you loads of money. I'm going to discuss a little bit today about Warwick Ward machinery, my experience with them, and also this laptop. I'll quickly tell you what this is so I can get it out the video, but this little box here, I'll show you, is an interface. So what it has is, it has a USB on one end which goes to the laptop, and it has this plug that, oh Jesus, it has this plug on the other end that will fit into any Case machine, and I will show you. So Case don't only make Case, they make New Holland. It's all the same company. So as you can see there, they do all these different excavators and stuff like that. And what I can do with this laptop, I plug that little box in, click it into the laptop, and then I can do all the stuff on my machine. I can turn the AdBlue, regen it. I can do all them things that these big companies will charge you. A diagnostic from Warwick Ward, I think, was 500 quid for him to come out, and then a bit of transport, maybe 600-700 quid. This laptop cost me, I think, 500 quid, maybe. I think the version is 2003. So that makes it, a few years old, 3 years old, but I got it in 2001 even. I think I had the versions are always the next year or whatever. And I've used this so many times on my machine just to diagnose it, plug it in. What's the problem? You can change it. It's this sensor, it's that sensor. So one thing, you can take it away from this video, is always try and have the same manufacturer. Get yourself on eBay and get yourself one of these. They are, honestly, they're so cheap, and it comes with the laptop. So you get the laptop, the box, and the program, and it's just a few hundred quid literally. Where they get the program from, I ain't got a clue. This might have been an old one that some engineers had and sold it. I don't know what the situation is, but like I say, you just buy them off eBay, and they are really cheap. What you can also do is, if you want to spend a bit of money, you can get a laptop like this, and you can also do your trucks. You can get programs that'll do everything. Trucks, Bobcat, Doosan, everything. But we just got this one years and years ago, and I can tell you now, I have lent this laptop to every waste company in the surrounding area to me to do regens on their DPF systems, because they always play up. So they use these to do regens, turn service lights off, diagnostics. This is the exact same computer that Warwick Ward has, exactly. And it identifies the machine. You just plug it in and it will do it. So let's now talk. Let's get this out the way, and we will talk about Warwick Ward. So going into... Oh, yeah, you have to charge it up. I had to put the charger in to show you because it was flat. So going into what I was saying there about Warwick Ward, I'm just going to unplug the charger and put that away. This is going to be a very strange video. But going into Warwick Ward, what I will tell you is, and we're going to discuss another company, which is Arnold Lavers, which is one of the biggest independent timber merchants in the country. They have also gone bust this week. And obviously, Warwick Ward is in the construction industry. Arnold Lavers are in the construction industry. So what does that tell you about the construction industry? Well, obviously, it's on its ass. It's not helps that we're getting taxed on everything, and with tax, what you find is, and I've had this conversation a few times with people like, everything's real quiet and there's not a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, because people haven't got disposable income. We've got electric bills, gas bills, the highest in the world. England has the highest energy prices in the world, but we don't have the highest wages. Did you know that? So if you look at Europe, look at their average, yearly energy price. Let's say, I don't know, a household spends €1,000, and their average wage is, say, €15 an hour. Our electric and energy prices can be 3-4 grand a year, or whatever it is with your water and your gas and your electric. But our wages would only be the equivalent of €15. So that's where the money's getting sucked away from the pot. So people have had a bit of money saved up You know, everything's going up. All the energy's going up. Your food's going up. Have you been shopping lately? I used to go shopping and, you know, 100 quid a week for your family. You can easily do 200 quid for the same bag of food. You know, everything. I drink a lot of Diet Pepsi, you'll know in my videos, and anybody who's ever been in my weight van will see my footwell is just full of cans of Pepsi. I used to get a crate of them for $4.50 2 years ago. They're now £9 for the same one. I just get a crate and put it in the back of my van and go through 5 or 6 of them a day, whatever. You know, so I'm doing 25 quid a week in bloody Pepsi. It used to be a tenner. And that is where the economy is shrinking. And that's, you know, literally it's to do with the price of the pound and inflation. Going on to Warwick Ward, you're going to see some videos behind me. I'm going to try and do this all in one go because the office is quite busy today. When I dealt with Warwick Ward years ago, they had a Tana dealership. So what happened is people was making, you know, topsoil from waste. You know what I mean? If you're in the waste industry, you'll understand what I'm saying. Put a 30mm basket in your shredder, shred it, you're making topsoil. Warwick Ward crushed the UK market with these Tanas. They brought them over, they come over, Tana into this country, and you know, another salesman from another company who sells shredders said we cannot give a shredder away at the minute because of Tana machinery. So what does that do? It pushes the price of the other machines down to compete with Tana, and it was, you know, an amazing rise, really. You know, we're talking about Warwick Ward, who were on a site that was, I think it was an old airfield even, or an old quarry. You know, tens of acres, massive place. You know, hundreds of staff, but they lost the Tana thing, and I did say at the time, I bet they're sick they lost that. And I'm not sure if it was because they were selling a trommel or something from another company, and Tana said, no, you can't do that. You've got to only sell our trommel. I think they said, no, we're not doing it. So then Tana moved to a company. I won't mention that company, but they moved to another company, and it was never going to work. You know, it was somebody who was in the waste industry, and, you know, that was always going to be a problem. Having somebody selling a machine to the waste industry who was in the waste industry, it don't work because you don't have the after sales. The Warwick Ward machinery had a good after sales, selling second-hand machines and stuff like that. And I think they got a lot of people into service and maintenance contracts where you basically pay per hour. So you buy a machine, it's 100,000, and then you pay £2-3 per hour that it's running, and they do all the maintenance on the machine, which is your servicing and all your repair work. So that's quite an handy thing to have. They also bought those old machines and then sold them on to other customers, you know, making money. But the problem is, you know, with any industry, if you've got a company, Warwick Ward's turnover was 45 million or 50 million. Once that industry is shrinking and people are not getting as much work done, you know, because they've mentioned the waste industry and the reason why they've gone upside down. If people are not spending money, like getting the gardens done, you know, you don't always have to think about a big picture when you're looking at the economy. It can be the little man in his garden doing some work and he's just not buying as much gravel. Where does the gravel come from? A quarry. Who puts the machine in the quarry? Warwick Ward. They put a crusher in there. They put a machine. And because the economy shrinks, what people do is, they have a machine for 3 years, and then Warwick Ward will come in and say, right, do you want to replace that with a new one? They'd usually do it every 3 years because they've got plenty of money to spend, and they go, no, I'm going to get an extra year out of it. You know, and it'll still run for 4 years. A case loading shovel, let me tell you, is the best loading shovel we have ever had is the case loading shovel. We've got one here now. It's been here for 3 years. I bought it secondhand, and it has not missed a beat. Obviously, yeah, I've had to regen the DPF a couple of times and stupid stuff like that, but it's never been down for more than 2 days. The only thing the big case loading shovels are really prone for is they've got a drive shaft inside which goes between the pump and the engine. They always throw the bearings out and it just smashes the drive shaft to pieces. I've had that problem on every single case machine, but apart from that, I can't say there's a better machine out there. And we've tried others. We've had Dawson's and all sorts, and the case is brilliant. When it comes to your excavators, I think Dawson's, Dawson/Bobcat, they're a very good machine. And then for your skid steers, it's always Bobcat. I've tried the others, it's always Bobcat every time. You know, the service from Bobcat in Scunthorpe, where we are, the lads there are absolutely brilliant. You know, they'll come out and they're not hard on warranty work. So if you break something, they'll repair it. And we get a brand new Bobcat every couple of years. I mean, they're only 15 grand. You know, it works out literally 500 quid a month over 3 years. It's nothing, and they just give it back, and then they give you, half the money you paid for it, and you knock it off your new machine, and every year that goes on, your finance payments gets less. I think on the machine we've got now, we only pay literally $250 a month for a brand new machine. But what I'm going to say to you is about Warwick Ward, and this is only from my personal opinion. Me sat here right now, I'm actually waiting. Sorry, I'm going to try and edit this video, so I'm just going to drink on the fly. But I'm going to tell you my big problem with Warwick Ward. Right, the lads at Warwick Ward, the fitters, brilliant, lovely lads, really knowledgeable, you know, and they're real good kids as well. You know, they're just helpful. But what I'm going to tell you is one problem that I always had with Warwick Ward, and everybody did. Everybody he spoke to had the same problem. If you didn't have a new machine, so you had something second-hand, they was very, very crap at looking after you. And what do I mean by that? Me, sat here right now, I'm waiting now, it's about a year and a half for him to ring me back in the service department for a new pedal for our case machine. The lads spilt something on it, and the potentiometer in the pedal went. Potentiometer just reads resistance in the pedal. That's how your car pedal works. You push it, and it changes the voltage as it goes up and down. So that broke on our machine. I'm waiting now from a year and a half ago for a call back on that. I'm also waiting for a call back from about 3 months ago for one of them bearings on the drive shaft I was just telling you about. I'm also waiting, you know, another year for a set of filters for it. That is one thing that was always consistently bad, is whoever worked in the second-hand machine spare parts section. It was a girl I was dealing with. It was a bloke and a girl, and different people come and went. But there was a girl who worked there, and I guarantee you, you'll be sat at home now waiting for her to ring you back. It never happened. And I can tell you, I went to another company and got the pedal from an excavator, because Case Machinery, Warwick Ward, had the loading shovel part in this part of the country. And I think down south there was another dealer, and there'll be one up north. They only have a certain area. In the end, I bought the pedal from somebody. Did I get it abroad? I can't remember. I can't remember, but I got it off the internet from a Case dealer. I think it was I can't remember if it was whatever, but it wasn't Warwick Ward. I'd rang 3 times. We'll get someone to ring you back. And they didn't bother. I bought it somewhere else. And I also got it about, you know, it's got like discount 20%, 30%. You know, I got money off it as well. And that is the problem that we had consistently. What was really good at Warwick Ward, though, is the used machine parts. So if you would ring Case up and you'd say, right, have you got a, for instance, you know, used fuel tank or a used ram off a digger? They usually had it, and they would get it off for you, and they would pursue you to buy it. So we ordered a ram off a machine, a lifting ram. The lads had scored all about it. It was a right mess. It was about $8,000 for a new one. So I rung them and I said, you got a second-hand one? The guy rung me 2 or 3 times. Are you having it? Are you having it? Are you having it? You know, and we ended up buying that. You know, that's a very good sort of like business model. But when it comes to the second-hand, but when it came to getting new parts, you know, new things, filters and all this different stuff, it was a real hard slog. But what you can find is over the years is that, you know, as a business is down, you know, downturning a little bit, you know, a company doing 50 million turnover to only earn, you know, a couple of million, that's a really small margin, especially on a big company. And big companies are very susceptible to small changes. So we're a little company here. We only turn over, I don't know, say £1 million a year, whatever it is, or £500,000, just use that as an example. If we had a bad month, you know, it might say we lost 20 grand, which is, you know, 20 grand's a ton of money to me, probably to you, but it's not, you know, like when you've got a big company and they lose 5 million, you know, one of the directors might have to say, right, I'll put a bit of money in. Like sometimes I do through winter, you'll know yourself, over Christmas, you'll have to take holiday days and all that stuff. And we might have to cover a bit of the wages, you know, just, well, it's real quiet, especially in January. We had a couple of years ago, and it froze for a full month. And me and my dad, we had to literally say, right, we won't take wages. And we was literally propping up the wage bill to get us over to February, you know, when it thawed out and could do skips again. It was that bad. You know, we had a full week where you couldn't get a lorry out the yard. It was absolutely frozen. And things like that do happen. But when it's a big company, you know, who's going to stick 5 million in to prop it up? Nobody. So what will happen, Warwick Ward, you know, to finish the video? A liquidator will go in. They'll get all the assets what are in there, and they'll basically sell it all. And unfortunately, when it's machinery that's sat on the floor, you know, which is being stripped for parts, that machine might have a bigger value than a brand new machine. You know, if, say you've got a case loading shovel, Warwick Ward give you 10 grand for it. They'll probably sell like 150 grand in parts, but it will take a long time. So that's the business model. When the liquidators go in, they're going to say, right, that's 5 ton of scrap and it's going to go for 500 quid. So, you know, it's horrible. What you'll probably find is some scrapyard, big scrapyard will go in there and buy everything and it'll all be taken away. So, you know, it's not good for anybody. The land, what the yard's on, will probably be owned by a different company. So they won't lose the yard. And that's why sometimes it's easier for a company to go bust because the liquidator has to clear the actual property out of the assets. So they go in and they say, right, we're going to sell everything, what's not bolted down. And basically what you're doing is get rid of rubbish, aren't you? In a way, you get rid of old machines you can't sell and it's been an hassle and you don't want to move them. They put them on auction. You know, a machine where 5 grand might do 2 grand, but the person who's paying the 2 grand has to arrange to take it away. Might need a crane, so auctions sometimes, that's why they do it. But yeah, really sad day. And one of my mates who I speak to regular works there. I won't mention him, but, you know, real good kid. So it's a sad day, but I can guarantee you, everybody at that place there, you know, and I take no pleasure in, you know, knowing that they're struggling because I do get bits and pieces off them. You know, you have to ring them 600 times to get things, but, you know, we can get older stuff off them, you know, especially used parts, you know, and I hope all the lads who work there, and I know for a fact they'll all get jobs straight away because some of the fitters there was absolutely brilliant. I'll tell you who to ring if who's always needing good fitters. Eggersman always needs good fitters. Should ring them. They're a good company and they need fitters and stuff as well. But anyway, that's the depressing news. I will be doing another video potentially this afternoon after my dinner about Arnold Lavers. They've also gone bust. I think the biggest independent timber merchant in the UK, and we'll have a little look at the economy. But I just thought I'd do a quick video now, get this information out to you. And yeah, like I say, if you've got a case machine, you're probably in the shit. See you soon.